Okay. Hi, everybody who's here with us today. Thank you for joining us on this session of Awake Aware Arise. My name is Ashwarya. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at Coach Arya and shall be hosting this session for today. Before we move on, I would just like to share. I'll add in these links in the chat box. I would like all of you to join our LinkedIn group. I'll add in the link and also give us feedback for this session and other sessions and every session that you attend with us at Awake Aware Arise. I will add in the links. Going ahead, I'll introduce the topic for discussion for today for the panel and introduce the panel thereafter. The topic for discussion for today is awakening our internal resources. For the last 7 months, it has been an unprecedented time for all of us. We all have been through different ups and downs individually. However, it is collective learning. One story leads to another, like a journey together in this world. How many people have awoken because of this pandemic? Did we then become more aware of our internal resources and start leading life differently? Maybe we did change our habits or maybe even enhance the well being. How about you? What resources made you go through the hard times? Can you find your internal resources to rebuild, reshape, and reconnect yourself with the world? I'll now introduce the panel who shall take this discussion ahead. We have Stephanie. She is one of Coach Arya's coach trainer. She's the first Chinese person with MCC and Master Practitioner Award from EMCC. Stephanie is also a coaching supervisor, a mentor coach, and is credentialed by the International Coach Federation as a Master Certified Coach since 2018. In her coaching practice, with an in-depth knowledge of the full spectrum model and coaching competencies model, Stephanie blends the systemic and psychodynamic and the humanistic approaches with a clear focus to accompany her clients towards more impactful results for themselves and their stakeholders in order to achieve their personal and professional success. Prior to becoming a certified coach, Stephanie was a human resource professional with Fortune 500 companies in multiple industries such as banking, supply chain, luxury retail, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and university, where she played an active business partner role on key country, APAC regional, and global activities. She wishes everyone she met in life would have an iridescent life. Stephanie believes that everyone is unique and whatever their background be, all have the potential to build skills with proficiency. One performs at their best when motivated, and one can only be motivated when aspirations and goals are identified. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Paul, maybe can you introduce the other two panelists and then we can start together?
Yes. We have Satako. Satako is a seasoned executive coach with more than 20 years of corporate experience, 12 years experience in coaching and facilitating. In her corporate career, Satako was one of the few female executives who worked in Japanese as well as in global corporations and was in charge of strategy, implementation, and led the organization in cross-cultural environments. Her earlier career includes the Long-Term Credit Bank of Japan, Shiseido, McKinsey & Company, Oracle Japan Company Limited, and NARS. In 2008, she started her practice of executive coaching and facilitation. Her approach is integrative, reflective, and systemic. Through dialogue, she explores authenticity and possibilities. She has supported C-suites and leaders in many Fortune 500 companies aiming to achieve significant and sustainable growth for the future for individuals and teams. Satako is also a pioneer in coaching supervision in Asia. She holds a diploma of coach supervision from the CSA, which is Coach Supervision Academy, a reputable institution in the UK. She has actively supported coaches in Asia for their growth and development since 2016. Currently, she serves at INED at Taido Life Insurance Company Limited, a leading life insurance company in Japan specialized in SME with 150 years history. Welcome, Satako.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have Ronald. Ronald is a seasoned executive who brings to his clients a high degree of insight and supportive challenge. He works with clients on leadership and presence, effective teamwork, navigating change, and developing inclusive practices within diversity and inclusion space. He is especially interested in facilitating change and inclusive leadership within individuals, teams, and systems, and in the psychology of money and investment. His recent coaching and facilitation client sectors include asset management, legal, pharmaceutical, life science technology, financial services, creative and media agencies, branded lifestyle apparel, technology consulting services, food packaging and processing, property investment, consulting, and the university sector. Ronald is a past board member of a leading children's charity in Hong Kong. He is a qualified coach and a licensed practitioner in the Lumina Learning and the Cantor Institute Structural Dynamics Assessment Tools. He draws aspiration from his family, yoga, architecture, and design, and in the Stoic principles of leading a purposeful life. Welcome, Ronald. Over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our sections. And it is our honor to invite two experienced executive coaches to this panel as well. For these sections, we want to have some self-reflection time to understand who we are, where we are, what we have, and how we can have a collective learning. Like we said, one story led to the other, like a journey together in one world. We want to have an interactive communication. So we are a partners. And if you have any sharing or questions, please feel free to share in the chat box. And actually, in Hong Kong, we experienced 9 months COVID-19. During this moment or durations, we experienced a lot. Even shock, worry, denial, uncertain. It really affects our daily life or work life. It also triggers our emotions, well-being, or impact on our job opportunity, finance, and we even not able to go to workout and friends gatherings. There are so many limitations overnight. We mean it is a new normal, but still are facing lots of stress. Before we start our maybe conversations, I have 2 questions to all of you. Maybe you can write it down in your chat box. The first one, what challenge did you face during the pandemic? The second one, what kept you going to have a successfully deal with the current situation? We want to collect some information, and then maybe by the end of the session, we can share more information together. Okay, Satoko and Ronald, in Hong Kong, we experienced a 3rd wave for the last 9 months. The 4th wave is in the corner. Can you share your experience, any impact or affect your normal life?
Stephanie, before we go into our own experience, the attendance wants to repeat the question because your voice might be cracking a bit. So would that be possible for you to type in your questions into the chat box so that everyone can see?
Thank you. Ashwara is typing the question right now. Thank you for your information.
Yes.
Okay.
To listen my voice, right? Is it okay?
Yeah, I think that's better, Stephanie,
Okay,
to put
thank
the
you.
headset on.
Yeah,
Oh, that's much better. Great.
yeah. So Satoko and Ronald, what is
so-
your experience?
I'll let
Well-
Satoko go first.
Thank you, Ronald. That was an interesting journey. So January to, I reflect on that. It's roughly into the 3 phases. The first one is, January to March, but, there is a lot of uncertainty, just it started, and lots of uncertainty, and we don't know what's going on. And, just things been changing, and some reacting to denial or, you know, just very cautious and fear. And, you know, I was yet to practice as very, very normal, but, you know, as the supervisor, I always mindful about how situation and system affect my ability to hold a space with client. And around January to March, I sense that, you know, ability to hold a space for me and the client a little bit shaky. So I think kind of in a little stress in the space. And the pandemic going on from April to June, July. By my personal side of stories, I just, you know, hurt my knee, and I got the operation in April. So the journey is also my rehabilitation journey. So that was, that was quite emotional exploration, a lot of struggle, frustration, and because of lockdown, we suddenly, you know, thrown into lack of, you know, the contact, or lack of touch, and lack of, you know, normal. So as an introvert, I become hermit, and I slow down quite a bit. Also, like as a pressure happened because a death is really close to every one of us. It's like as if, you know, we are living on a border time, and suddenly the due date is actually, you know, coming right in front of us. So that unspoken, implicit, explicit stress, you know, certainly affect the system and every one of us. So I feel lots of, you know, stress, frustration, and so on. And somehow July to September, you know, that's where we are now. We start talking more about co-creation and rebirth. I'm sure, you know, it's depending on the people, and it's very personal and the collective journey. But, you know, we start moving a bit, we start to try a bit, and even within the, you know, constraint, we start out something new. So that's my personal experience. And how do you see, Ronald? You know, what was your journey in personal?
Thank you for sharing, Satoko. Well, first of all, especially for our Indian friends on the line, thank you for joining in your lunch hour, giving up your lunch hour. And hopefully in the next 90 or so minutes, you take something away, or you reflect or reaffirm something that you might have. What I have to say during this time and my reflections, I think I have to remind myself I come from a privileged place insofar as no one close to me has suffered from COVID-19. I haven't suffered any deaths. And so, you know, I've been in a place with a lot of resources, and therefore I'm very grateful for that. So, you know, if that comes across as a bit teachy or preachy, I think that's the context, if you like. Otherwise, you know, if I had suffered something, I think I would be in a very different place. And I know India is suffering really badly with infection numbers. So hopefully you get through this. You know, Hong Kong has been in a much more privileged position in that instance, in that we have had very few deaths and then been able to really suppress the number of infections. So hopefully India can get, you guys can get onto that track as well. If there's one thing we can take away from Buddhist philosophy, it is the concept of impermanence, that, you know, these too shall pass. And I'm sure that with everyone's efforts across the globe and in India, this too will pass for you. For me, it's, and I see it in the clients that I work with as well, it's all of us going on this change curve, because this unusual period, we're all in this together. And it's fair to say that even with, in the profession that we're in, we also know that regulating our emotions is important. And for me, I've gone through, you know, ups and periods of downs as well, which we'll probably explore during the rest of this talk. So I'll just leave it there for now. But thank you for joining again.
let me share my experience as well. Like Satoko, the first wave in Hong Kong around January to March, I feel a little bit quite excited. Honest speaking, why? Because I can take a rest and everything like stop, and then we can slow down. So the first almost from end of January to early of March, I went to hiking almost three, 4 times a week. And then I got a lot of insight from the natural environment and do a lot of reflections. But at the same time, I also experienced some maybe procrastinations because I feel, oh, everything's slowing down. Maybe I don't need to do too much. So I have a Netflix addiction for whole months, especially for Korean dramas. And then in March, I feel, okay, I didn't do anything for 1.5 months. I need to do something. But it seems in March, that is, it seems the condition is getting better. So I want to maybe find something to do. But it seems I come across some friends of mine, they feel denial or already have some depressions. And then I feel why they feel not optimistic, or they feel some panic, and then it triggered me have some emotions, and I feel, yes, is it I am abnormal? Why my feeling is not like the same normal people? But in March, I feel I really don't want to do anything. I have no mood, no even don't want to turn on my computer, even Netflix as well. And then in April, I feel, oh, okay, the condition is really getting better. But suddenly in May, we have a second wave. We need to slow down again. But at that moment, I feel grateful because like Satoko and I are coaching supervisor. We have a collective group. We meet every Tuesday morning. And I feel that even the condition outside is not really good, but I feel we have a supporter even in different locations. And then I start to think about what is my directions. And then I pick up my mood and then think about what is the next. And now the third wave just finished. I feel that. And I feel excited and because during the last 1 or 2 months, I connect different people, and I also have some job coming. That is a quite still keep the gratitude attitude. Like in the chat box, I saw some people say during this moment, she set up a gratitude platform. Yes, I so am I as well. So if you want to share anything, you also can type in the chat box. And Satoko and Ronald, because you are a very experienced executive coach and coaching supervisor, from your observations, did you notice any difference pre or post COVID-19? And can you share your observation or maybe personal experience as well? You are mute. Satoko, you are mute.
Thank you. I was wondering if you want to share some nice sharing in the chat box, but I'm gonna, as you read, I'm gonna just sharing my observation. So the uncertainty phase, I see lots of people kind of confused in a way because their life suddenly changed and they don't know how threatening it is. So some people like it's a flu, and some people say it's really, really like very life danger, and people are a bit confused, and the people stop doing what they used to do. So if you're coaching very busy business person, stopping something they used to do, causing quite a lot of confusion, so they don't know what to do. So being focusing on how we're going to balance being and doing. So being stop, we have to stop doing, and what about being? How does it affect you? So that's the uncertainty phase, and lockdown and almost like exploration phase. They require a little bit of emotion, like a lost, maybe draining of the energy, and then we go for self-care and resilience and the exploration. What's new? What is it for you? And yeah, so people going through the phases, and so do we. I remember that in the January and the March, in group supervision, I cited the Viktor Frankl's words that that's the famous one. Hang on a sec. The between stimuli and the response, there is a space. In a space is a power to choose a response. In a response lies a growth and a freedom. So that's a famous one. So I ask question to the coaches that in the uncertainty, how you respond, what would you do? And then now it's kind of moving to reverse, and I saw lots of coaches doing something new, new ways of working, new practice, new experimentation. So that's coming to more of the other citation that it's not really matter that what we expect from life. It's more about what life expected from us. So we kind of exploring and then creating something, shaping something new in the coaching space.
Thank you. How about Ronald?
I think definitely resonate with what Satoko has said, and I'm reading the screens as I go along. I think a lot of you have put some really good stuff up there, like gratitude and creating new rhythms, etc. So I think most of my clients, or the clients that I've worked with, have gone through what we are all going through, insofar as a chance to possibly reset, pause, and perhaps pivot. And so things that become very important to us, like our health, our well-being, our community. And I think earlier on, Navneet asked, post-COVID, how can people with stress and tension, how can we help, and anxiety, and how can we help them? And I think the subsequent comments about that has become very important. I mean, one of the things as humans, we face this bias or this illusion called the end of history illusion. So we always think that we've changed so much in the past, and we're our fully formed self at this point in our lives, and we won't change in the future. And what a lot of experiments have shown is that actually we do keep changing, and we don't stay still. So I think one of the things that all of us in the development or growth or the helping professions, we do want to reach out, we want to help people, and it's about reinforcing that we will continue to help people and that things will get better. But it's how do you build those tools, both behavior-wise and mindset, in order to help people who are probably less aware of how they can get out of this. Because sometimes to me, it can be as simple as knowing what's in our control and what's outside of our control. And if we know what's in our control, then what are the behaviors and the mindset we can adopt to that and make the small changes. And oftentimes with all that's going on in the world, we tend to forget those basics because, fear comes in and uncertainty about the future. And so I think we just start from there and then work outwards towards that.
Ronald, thank you for your sharing. And I know you are very knowledgeable in history. I heard that you have some insight from the story. Can you share with us?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm very knowledgeable about history, but I'll share what I know. I really like the way that the writer Derek Thompson of The Atlantic magazine put it. He says, we are currently experiencing 200 years of history in the last 9 or so months. And the way he puts it is, in the 1830s, before the Industrial Revolution, we all worked from home. We had little cottage industries, or we had farms, and pretty much we're our own businesses. And that's what working from home, like we're all doing right now, is. You know, it's supporting our customers, supporting our clients from this artificial construct that is our home. Then in the 1930s, especially in America, there was the Great Depression. So lots of unemployment, the stock market was down, social unrest, and a real requirement by the government to supply fiscal stimulus as well as monetary stimulus. And that's what's happening all over the world now, with the central banks pumping a lot of money into the system, and with all the social unrest that's going on right now across different areas as well. And then you fast forward another 100 years to 2030, and all the technologies that were essentially being built and coming on has really been accelerated and brought back 10 years to 2020, you know, with Zoom, all the companies like Amazon, etc., you know, suddenly becoming, probably would have become very important in 10 years' time, are now even more important than ever. So we've got this kind of compressed 200 years in this period. But I get comforted and reminded by what the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said back in, I think, 200 BC. And he said that all that has happened before will happen again. The same plot from beginning to end with the same stage. So this is not unusual. I mean, I think all of us now know that the 1918 Spanish flu killed over, I think it was, killed over 50 million people. And HIV/AIDS, from the time it started up until now, has killed about 25 million. So sometimes it is difficult because we're just living in this piece of history that we get stressed, etc., without being able to see that if we step back in time with history, you know, pandemics will come and they will come again. And so therefore, coming back to the point about building our own inner resources, you know, awakening them and then utilizing them, it's how can we use those inner resources to help ourselves. So it's kind of the, you know, on the days we used to travel, it was putting on our life jacket on first. And then very importantly, then helping people who are probably less fortunate than us, and building out on that. So I think what history has taught us, to answer your question in a very long-winded way, Stephanie, is that this has happened before and it will happen again. And it's really up to us to really take it within our own. We have the gift basically to help others as well as ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. I like your sharing, because as the Bible also says, there is no new things in the world under the sun. But how many things, or how many how we awake from our history, and how we learn and react from our history. And actually, the world is changing. According to the statistic, actually 91% of team in APAC have implemented work from home. I think most of people nowadays still have a work from home arrangement since the beginning of the pandemic. In Hong Kong, I remember, maybe Satoko can correct me, maybe in January, all the students, including kindergarten students, attend their class via Zoom. They do the physical exercise at home. When you observe the change, and as Ronald said, maybe the history is non-stop, repeat and repeat. But how we feel, and how you face your emotion, and what emotion you have. Can you share? Or Satoko, do you have any
Stephanie,
things?
I noticed that, you know, there is a beautiful chat, you know, that going on, and one I noticed is collective consciousness. So, you know, well, Ronaldo actually said that it's, you know, we are alone together. It's, you know, exactly telling the situation where we are now. In the middle of this, you know, 9-month journey, I've been seeing the shadow of my personality, you know, individual shadow. Maybe myself and the client, other people, and the collective shadow of the society. And, you know, there's a lots of things going on everywhere in the world. that's, you know, just triggered from COVID, but it's there, it's a shadow. And the shadow is the perhaps, you know, when times comes, the great source of individual and a collective growth. And then it's hard. So we are experiencing that hardness at this moment. So that's how I kind of feel about, you know, in the bigger picture, you know, that's what's happening. So that's actually the question that, you know, how we actually coming out from this. So that's my kind of, you know, take from my collective journey. And, you know, I'm curious that, you know, what the other attendees are curious about in this situation, what we can explore in this panel.
Yes, the questions, like Levine also mentioned that before the COVID, he feel or she feels tension, stress, anxiety, and need help. But post-COVID also feel that and observe that most people have tension, stress, anxiety. And how can we as a coach or maybe helping professional can help them? A good question.
The way I've approached this is I'm sure that all of us, I can make the assumption that all of us start with a lot of empathy because of the work that we're in, and knowing the perspective of the people we're either coaching or working with, or friends in the community. And I think the first thing is to recognize that everyone starts in a different position. So the best thing I've found is just listening to people. Because I cannot make a judgment of where they are, because in one day we can all move through this emotional curve and be anywhere. So it'll be very presumptuous to say, oh, I know where you are because of your situation. So I would start from there. I really liked what KS said a bit earlier about rhythms, because I firmly believe that we have to look at these things in two ways, both the emotional, the thinking and feeling part, and the doing part, the behaviors. Because to get out of this in a lot of ways, or to support getting out of this, we really have to put actions and rhythms and structures or processes in place. And that might mean just doing new habits, you know, just continuing to exercise if we're allowed out, for example, just to get a lot of sleep, because sleep is probably the one underappreciated asset that's within our control for most of us, and we always discount that, thinking we can work harder or watch that additional Netflix or what have you. And even I have trouble coming to grips with 7 hours of sleep is much better than 6 hours of sleep. So for me it's about building rhythms and structures so that I can, to the extent possible, eat well, sleep well, and then exercise, because those basics really, they're almost in a way so basic and fundamental that we tend to forget about them and think about more important things. And that's just our physiology, and we need to work with that. The American psychologist William James said, am I happy because I sing, or do I sing because I'm happy? And it's because of, when you sing, you actually trigger off different endorphins, etc., and then you become happy, rather than having to wait to be in a state of mind before acting. So I think that's quite a nice way of sharing what are the behaviors you have in place that can help you. So sharing, I know I'm hogging the airspace, but in our household we have my wife and I have a 13-year-old daughter and an 11-and-a-half-year-old daughter. So every day at about 4:30, after we finish this call, it's either a yoga class or a high-intensity training class, so on YouTube. So it's between 45 minutes and an hour. And they groan and they mumble and they say, oh, why do we have to do this? But if we can't get out of the house, that's the only time that, in a way, is the exercise time or the stretching time, and it's family time, right? And over time, I think they will get to appreciate that. And sometimes it's difficult to do because it's quite easier to bring out a packet of chips or something to eat. But I think just getting into that rhythm, I think, is just so important, because we all feel good afterwards. So to second what Kay wrote down earlier, I think for me it's about rhythms, creating rhythms. Whether it's, you know, what is your rhythm? Is it yoga? Is it gardening? Is it taking your, you know, speaking to your mother or your mother-in-law, you know, in another state in India, for example, or what is it? So it's for each of you to decide what it might be.
And I also read most of the checkbox message. I feel that before the COVID-19, we are all very busy, want to achieve a lot of things, like Satoko said, doing, and we are a doer. But after the COVID-19, it reset our priority. We know what is the most important thing, or we need to rethink about what is the most important to our life. And after we said, I observe a lot of participants say this is a great experience and have a good maybe family time and how to prioritize as well. I also want to share my experience because for the last 7 or 8 months, I still have some executive coaching, and I noticed many clients have a common phenomenon. They have a very short and fast breath. I want to ask all of you, did you notice your breathing? Is it very deep breathings or short breathings? And then when I notice their breathings, I normally invite them to have a 2 easy exercise during the coaching sections, which I do it together with them. I want we all to do it when I explain a little bit. The first one is deep breathings, because honestly speaking, I am easy to tense. Maybe I feel I have a happy face, but I have a butterflies in the belly. So sometimes before I feel stressed, I will have a three deep breathings. But I will invite my clients, if you have times, do you have a 1 minute, or if they are very busy, do you have a time for 3 to 5 deep breathings? After the deep breathing, they almost reply to me, oh, don't know why, just only deep breathings, and seems the negative mindset change immediately, the energy shift. That is a quite miracle exercise. So the first tips to all of you may be, in case if we feel panics or stress, 3 deep breathings, breathings. The second one, I want all of you to do it together. It is a very easy exercise. Do you want to, can I invite all of you to do it with me? Okay, I assume you will. First of all, raise your right hand. And then put it to your left hand shoulder. Put it to your left hand shoulder. And then say your name. My name is Stephanie, so I say Stephanie. If Satoko, you can say Satoko or Ronald. Good job. Well done. Can you say that to yourself? Yeah, good job. Well done. Okay, I haven't finished yet. And then raise your left hand and put it to your right shoulder. And then say your name again. Like I said, Stephanie, I love you.
Ronald.
Stephanie,
I love you.
I love you. Say your name. Why I say that, Satoko also mentioned that yeah, this is a very easy exercise, but I notice a lot of people, maybe they do not think they deserve, they should someone maybe have a self-care, or maybe they don't deserve somebody love them. But actually we are all good. Not we are not good enough, but we are all good. So every day, if or maybe before you sleep, just say maybe 1 hand or 2 hands and talk to yourself. You do a great job today. Or even I didn't do anything, or I have a lot of failure experience, I still love myself. This is a good appreciative approach. At least if we do all the times, we will feel that even nobody, even there are so many maybe difficult circumstances or situations, but we still deserve, we are good. Yeah. So I hope everyone can do it in case if nobody say love you, and you still can love yourself as well. And actually life isn't always present and has a many challenge. This is a true and fact. Maybe always will ask why me, because that is normal, because when something bad, why me? And my friend shared a motto yesterday. I also want to share with all of you. Gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgiving, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunity into blessings. It is really true. I have depression. Actually, 5 years ago, I had a depression. At that moment, I felt so difficult and to come across my daily work. But now when I look back, it is a great experience because I fully understand the feeling, what people experience or come across right now. And I have more empathy. Actually, in original character, I always feel that I'm very optimistic. So if this is not okay, just move on, let go, and then go and moving forward. But because I'm the depression experience, even I'm very optimistic. I really don't want to do anything. I have no mood. So how you react the change, how you embrace yourself, your emotions, can you share with us?
For me, it's a constant journey of self-discovery, because I think, like for most of us, we have this inner voice always chatting to us. You know, either I'm not good enough, or I haven't done that well, or life is not perfect. And part of setting intention is about letting go. Life isn't meant to be perfect, and it's not about asking, why me? It's about why not me? It's why should good things or bad things go to other people and not me? And so the more work that I do on myself, the more I realize that, until I can reconcile or work and accept myself for what I am and to build from there, then I'm in no position to help others. And I think, again, for those of us in the growth or the helping professions, it's always that, it would be very unfair or fake of us to try to help others when we're not in that position of strength with ourselves in the first place. So understanding my emotions. I have to say, Stephanie, even when you do those exercises, I feel a little bit, I don't deserve, or this feels a bit odd as well. So even something simple as that, you kind of think that's just an exercise, but there's something like, I'm curious that there's a barrier that makes me do that with a little bit of reluctance. So I think it's a continuing journey.
Thank you. How about others?
For me, I'm also pretty reactive. I'm reading, is it the Thinner? So I pause a lot. The slowing down helped me a lot. I sometimes just, sit again on the chair, the ground helps me a lot. And I've been, so there was one story that helped me a lot. I spoken to a monk a few years ago, and he came to my father's kind of in a funeral anniversary. So in Japan, we do a 3-year, 7-year stuff for the funeral. And he said his story was like this, in some monk, is helping people in a terminal illness and visiting hospital with a stone with the word that is scribbled in Daijobu, which is in Japanese, it's all right. So here's this stone with that's all right. And he gave it to the child, who's having, very risky surgery. And the monk will say to the child that, it's gonna be all right. Surgery might going really well, then that's gonna be all right. Even though it's not going well, you're gonna be all right. And the monk said that, it's something doctor cannot do, but as a spiritual worker, something we can do. That's got me think a lot. And, whenever I feel something not all right for me, I start thinking, how can it be all right in the bigger picture? So this is COVID situation is really hard. And some of the people, including me, cannot see relatives in the mothers, which really old. And that's very sad. How it's gonna be all right in the big picture. What does it mean to me? So even I talk about that's gonna be all right. That soothes me a lot. So that's helped me quite a bit. Slowing down, and I think that's all right.
Yes, I remember one sentence I learned recently. It is okay not to be okay. But how to maybe understand what is happening, what bothered me. Instead, okay, I'm not okay now. I need to set goal and then moving forward. But I will spend more time to understand what is happening inside. After I learned coaching supervision, I have a more self-reflections because we are all humans. It is okay not to be okay. And like Satoko say, Daijobu. Daijobu, it is all right doesn't mean the things will gone. But it is okay. At the very beginning, don't self-critic first. Don't just focus on the maybe solutions or what went wrong, but instead like self-care. Did we deserve to understand ourselves or self-care first, and then okay, when we are Daijobu, all right, maybe one step out and then see what is going on. Yes, that is what I learned too.
Thank you, Stephanie. Maybe I'm going to add on to a couple of things I found in this COVID situation for helping professional. We helping professional help a lot, and that stresses us a lot. So it's I see a lot of beautiful chat that you are all aware that we have to charge ourselves, but sometimes it's simple but not easy. So just pay attention to energy care, charge yourself, and then find out what charge you. And the second thing I found really important for me was connecting to people, in particular when you're locked down and I cannot talk to the people. My supervisor, suggested me to have a virtual tea every now and then, so no agenda, just connect. And, I found myself, you know, we are all human beings. We can't do it alone. We are weak. By connecting people like-minded and being vulnerable with them, I found a lot of help and a little bit, you know, insight. The third thing is play. Play could be internally, externally. For me, that includes body movement. Like Stephanie did, breathing is quite important, as well as, you know, just to move yourself. I started the pottery and the bread baking during the COVID, and interestingly, kinesthetic feeling soothed me, helped me. Engrossing those things for 2 hours really helped me. You know, you can find your version of, you know, my bread making and pottery. And also, when you're in a lockdown, you might have suffocated. Find your voice. You can sing maybe, or you can talk loudly, you know, in a very small space, like in Hong Kong. Many people in this, you know, in a space, you might lose your voice. Find your voice, you know. And yeah, that's something I found. And just look after yourself and be okay.
Or maybe, can I ask Satoko and Ronald, because you both are parents and play different roles. Is there any difference between a professional coach, like Satoko just shared, helping professions, and different roles like parents or maybe wife or husbands? What do you think?
Yeah, to me, we have yes and no, I guess, is the taking, you know, sitting on the fence and taking both views. Yes, it's supposed to. It's also recognized that we have different identities, you know, because our relationships as a spouse or as a parent is going to be different, and I find myself being aware of that because, you know, I'm sure some of you can resonate that when you're with a client, for example, you can be more present, and sometimes with your children, maybe you can be less so, right? And so it's just understanding how, being aware of it and trying to be a bit better. But definitely there are different roles we play, and the important thing is we, as I said right at the beginning, you know, we're quite privileged that we don't live in that smaller space, relatively speaking, so the children can go out. Now, I know a lot of families don't have that luxury, or they're really stuck indoors, and so mental health is something that's is a very big issue, I think, globally for young children. And those of you with young children who need to get out, for example, will know what I'm talking about. And so that becomes just so important that you're able to spend time with them and understand where they're coming from. And sometimes it's just, you know, they just want attention, and other times they want to be left alone. But it is a struggle sometimes knowing what that is. I have 2 teenage daughters, and they're, 2 daughters, one who's a teenager now. And yeah, that in itself can be challenging as her hormones, etc., changing. So it's accepting. I think for me, it's about accepting where she's at right now, rather than me trying to impose myself on her.
Well, my daughter is 10, so, you know, it's yet to come. But something I notice is, you know, when in the lockdown, all the family dynamics is very condensed in a way. So I learned to look, it's a great opportunity for me that what's going on in the family system, and you know, where it's come from and what does it mean to me. Because, you know, I also bring in something, you know, from my family and my relationship with family. and then my husband, and then bring in something from his upbringing too. So it's like almost like a, we see the petri dish in a small contained space. So for me, it's like, the curiosity and open-minded helped me a lot in this stressful time. Well, it's very hard, but if it's possible, think it lightly and think about curiosity.
Okay. We go to the last part or last sections. I'm sure more and less we all have a change our habits, and according to the message, seems a lot of people already reboot or rearrange the schedule or priorities, and know how to build our resilience and digest the whole things. The question is, what awakening internal resources you go through your hard time? Because as a coach or coaching supervisor, we all know all, especially our coaching theory, we all have a resources. We know how to maybe solve the problem. But what awakenings, internal resources, we go through our hard time?
I, as a supervisor, fellow supervisor, and I have to reinforce the idea that, we are helping professional, and we tend to carry a lot. And, we constantly worry about, am I worth it? Or am I providing good value to your client, my clients? Am I doing enough or something? Let's start thinking you are enough. Because just being there and presenting and be with the client, that's therapeutic. We are not being maybe the not therapist, but a conversation and the presence itself is very therapeutic. Yeah. So that's something I'm going to share, and I'm sure Ronald and Stephanie have something to share too.
Yeah. Our theme for this month is awake, aware, and arise. And I use the 3S to go through my process. The first S is self-reflections. I just mentioned or share that self-reflection to me is very important. Sometimes we really don't need to ask what went well, what I need to improve. Like Satoko just said, we are good enough. We are good, even we are not perfect. But I will ask how I feel, why bother me, do some self-scanning. Maybe the scanning, just only 1 minute. We don't need to stay one day to think about that. But do we have a sensitivity to our feelings, emotions, or even our heartbeats can tell? I like to use Samsung. Sometimes my heart rate is just at 50. Sometimes it's at 30. Then I know, I'm calm. When I calm down, actually, I know what I need to do. And because of the presence mode, I will feel I enjoy every moment. Instead, I rush to do something. And then as a coach, like the helping professions, if we don't understand ourselves, we only have an ego or performance driven. This is normal because we want to perform sometimes. It is quite hard to understand others or be a container or companion with others because we are not a client approach. We just want to perform. So what is the most important is to self-care, to be humble, and then we can be a companion in partnership with our clients, even friends and family. Through the self-reflections, actually, I really, for the last 9 months, I can tell I have a very clear pictures on my life vision and missions, even better than 5 years ago. And then the second S is self-comprehensions. Yes, I will reset my goal because I slow down and rethink about what is the most important to my life. And I remember that 1 month ago, I have a coaching supervision sections. I already have 3 questions to ask my supervisor, but suddenly she said, Stephanie, I invite you to draw a pictures. I said, I don't have any talents to draw pictures, and I don't have a preparation. So in my office, a small office, I just have a 1 orange highlight pen and 3 ball pens, red, blue, and black ball pen. And then I say, how can I draw? If you have a paper and pens, you can draw. And then she asked me to draw pictures about my meaning of my company and my plan in the future. I really didn't prepare for it, but I truly feel when I draw the pictures, I can tell that I don't want to show you because it's too ugly, but according to the picture, I feel so happy because my company name is Iridaxon. Actually, it's just Ashwara introduced me. I really believe, and I wish everyone I met, they all have a Iridaxon life. Iridaxon means beautiful and meaningful and a colorful life with hope and joy and energy. Because when people have a hope, they will find joy. And if you have a hope and joy, you will have a full of energy. This is a truly feel I have this life vision. I want to spread the hope to all people I know. And I observe a lot of people, the face show me hopeless or even don't want to smile. The third S is a self-constructions. We all have emotions and feelings, but I remember one attendee also say that no good or bad, no right or wrong emotions. That is our burden. That is our maybe inner critic feelings. We all have a up and down moments. Whether we can accept and embrace ourselves. This is very important because we cannot just focus our strength. If we understand our shadow or darkness and we embrace and we accept, have a self-acceptance, even we are not perfect and we cannot please everyone. Even I have plenty of room for improvement. I say, I'm good. That is 3S. Self-reflections, self-comprehensions, and self-construction. Yeah, this is my sharing. How about Ronald?
That's lovely, Stephanie. So this is a work in progress. So a few years ago, Nassim Taleb wrote the book Anti-Fragile. And so for me, it's about developing a toolkit, a personal toolkit for anti-fragility, that can last through good times and bad times. And so the top 5 that I'm currently working on now, and I would encourage and invite all of you to have your top 5 as well in your toolkit, are these. And the first is minimize watching the news, because that triggers for me so many different things. So either the news, try to limit myself on Twitter or reading the Twitter. So if you look around the world right now, there's just so much conflict. You just have to look at the US to see what's going on. You look at, for those, I'm sure we're all on LinkedIn. So if you look at what Ray Dalio has been writing about, the age of empires coming to an end and the kind of decline of America and the rise of China. You read that and you can trigger it whichever way you look at it, and what's happening there. So we can read a lot and we can get really sucked into everything that's going on. So for me, the biggest thing is not to try to minimize the amount of news I read, because again, back to the control point, there's a lot we can't control. And does this put us in a good place personally and as a professional or not? And that's going to be a different, that'll be on a continuum for all of us. So instead of watching the news, the second thing for me is read books. I think to the points about history, things will happen again and we will find much more wisdom in the history. Sorry, in books that describe what's happened before. I know I have a good friend from India who, you know, I think when he was going through class, Sunday school, he used to have to read, be taught the Bhagavad Gita, right? And he just put it aside, and now he's in his 50s and he's picking it up again, and he's looking at it going, wow, what I didn't know when I was, you know, 6 or 7 or 10 years old is now very profound in what Arjuna and Krishna talk about. Exercise, we've talked about it. I think it was Vinitha talked about pranayama. I think for me, exercise is important just as an outlet. The fourth thing, which I think is what Satoko said as well, is make time for play. So what is the hobbies? So what is your me time? You know, we give so much. What do we give ourselves? Whether it's, you know, 15 minutes of meditation or 20 minutes reading a book, you know, what is your me time? And for me, it is reading or just being by myself. So one of the things I've started doing is I've connected back my old CD player. So, you know, between 8:30 and 9:30 at night, I just listen to music with no one, you know, not the wife or the children disturbing me. And that is my me time. And the fifth one, which we're all in, is do something for the greater good, because, you know, through being altruistic, as social beings, that provides much more to us by giving outward than giving in. And it could be small things. They don't have to be big, you know, big topics of trying to save the world or clean the beach. It could be just being kind to the neighbor, opening the door for someone. So try to do something good every day, I think puts us in a better place. So that's my top 5, work in progress, but hopefully I invite you to have your own top 5, which can change over time. But, you know, what's your toolbox for, or your toolkit for anti-fragility? Is my challenge to all of you.
I remember yesterday when we set up a call with Ronald and Satoko. Satoko have some reflections and says we are aware and arise. More important is how we make use our resources, and we build, we shape, and reconnect. Reconnect is not just a reconnect to others. We also need to reconnect ourselves. Like Ronald said, do you have me time? And and do we have a networking time? I remember one attendee said to connect to like-minded people. Yeah, this is very important. Like-minded people, like every Tuesday now, I connect to Satoko now. She accept my invitation and she's there, and then I feel that is a collective support. I feel that. And I saw Cindy is here. Cindy is my mentor coach. I remember 2 years ago when I come across a MCC program, I took more than maybe 15 to 20 recording, and every time when she listens, no, and then I feel quite frustrated. What's wrong? And then I remember, because Cindy is based in South America, South Africa, so the style is completely different from Asians. We are just a dual and quite fast paced, and her style is okay. Relax, you can do it. And then because I don't feel relaxed, and you ask me relax, but because the tone, the pace, I can relax immediately. And then I rethink about don't think what's wrong, but how I can improve. Just only the tone, the pace, or the supportive, maybe psychological safety, I feel it is good enough. The present is good enough. That is so gratitude to others, to ourselves, and always appreciate is really important. Yeah, Satoko, I want to give you some times because I really like her metaphor. Because in Japan, there is an art and kintsugi, and I want the original Japanese to explain what is that. It is a very, very good metaphor we want to share with all of you.
Okay, can you guys see this? So in my exploration, I had a lot of discussion with my learning group, and being vulnerable, everyone become vulnerable together, and yeah, beauty in broken, right? Yes. So we came up with, this kintsugi concept. It's actually come from my friend. I think she's Australian, and it so resonate with us. It's art in Japan to repair the porcelain that's broken, and what's broken become even more beautiful. And then the flow and the imperfection, and it's become the character. So something like this, it's broken, and when it's reconstructed, it's comes stronger or more beautiful. And this one is national treasure. It's so the artist, actually this came out from broken from the kiln, and he restored it with this kintsugi, and then that's become national treasure of Japan. Yeah, something like that. So in a deep, reflection and connection within my learning group, it's shared that, we are not perfect, but that's why we are beautiful. We broken, but we become more beautiful because of that. And that's, that's who we are. And who we are is how we be, and how we coach, and how we, we're gonna be with this client, and the same go with client. So this is my sharing.
Yes.
Anything to add, Stephanie?
It is very beautiful. I saw one say that beauty in imperfections. Yes, we don't need to be perfect, but how we can have a beautiful life journey, it is more important to enjoy our moment, to enjoy our life moment actually. Yeah, we still have 15 minutes. Anyone want to ask any question to us?
Stephanie, if you'd like, you can read the reflections also in the chat box. A lot of people have sent in
Yes.
reflections, their thoughts. You can take that also.
Okay. Or maybe I also invite Ronald and Satoko read the message and see what we can share with them as well.
Yeah, I think there's been so many insightful comments that have come through, and I think we've tried to pick up some of them. What Vinitha says right towards the end about coaching is that goal that brings together the brokenness is really beautiful, because that's a really apt metaphor for where we are today. I don't want to steal Satoko's limelight, because what she just said, with the presentation was just lovely. And, for me, that's kind of a nice place to draw this to a close, because that just ties everything together, that through possible damage, there is growth, right? And the growth can come in a lot of ways, restructuring something by gluing it together, or emerging as a phoenix, depending on where we're coming from. And just from the comments I've seen, that all of us on the line are aware of what we need to do. It's, how can we give a little bit more of ourselves to others, and yet at the same time ensure that we're also energized and have the inner resources to continuing to sustain that and building that anti-fragile frame for ourselves. But I think that's where, I'd like to leave it for me, unless there's questions.
We have a question. from Vinitha. She's asking, how can we support our seniors during this time through our coaching, not just by spending time, but more than that? Any thoughts?
Maybe I share first because I just finished 2 executive coaching last week. Yes, during these moments, I observed some senior executive. They, of course, depends on the industry. I work on the FI with them, and they are even more busier than before. A lot of projects. They don't have any rest time, but I set the coaching section is like more on reflections, because they already have a lot of to-do lists, and they want to achieve, or maybe they want to solve or fix something. But as I just mentioned, the first important thing is self-reflections. How I make use of the coaching sections, maybe at the, actually I ask a different not powerful question, because we don't have a powerful questions. We have a presence, and then we know how to ask the questions. And what we observe from the clients, and then ask the right questions to them. What bother them, or maybe do the 3 deep breathings at the beginning of the coaching. When they calm down, when they want to maybe know how to explore themselves or scanning themselves, what is importance, what is holding them back, and then the coaching they will open up their mind, or maybe they have the solutions immediately.
I think, so thank you for that, Stephanie. I think Vinitha was talking more about, the way I interpret Vinitha's comment was seniors as in our elders and our family. So, but I may be wrong.
Sorry about
so
that.
No, that's fine. I think what you said is very valuable. What I would also say for elders, both my parents have passed away, so I'm more speaking in the perspective of my in-laws who are in their 80s. I don't think there's any magical thing about from being there with them. I mean, in Hong Kong, we were lucky enough to still be able to visit them and support them. And I think, to me, it's a very scary time for them, because we all know it impacts old people much more than the young and the frail. And being there to me, it's just about being there for them, Vinitha, because, at the end of the day, even in the best of times, you could probably mark the number of times you might meet your parents on a calendar, right? And it wouldn't be that many times when you think about it, because we're all so busy, etc. So just make use of that precious moments while it's here. No magic formula from my perspective, I'm afraid. Just be there and to listen to them. And yes, they're in their second childhood, and sometimes they'll frustrate the hell out of you, but they're your parents, right? And you'll be there one day. And if you have children, well, guess what? You'll probably be there sooner than you think. So, yeah. So that's all I can say. Treasure them while they're alive, from someone who's no longer has his parents with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with, build on to what Ronaldo said. I've been working with Marshall Goldsmith in the past, 10 years. And his story about, older person, seniors, as let them be. But the most important thing is spend time with them. He cited some story that, and ask them what they want from you. He cited some story that the one participant in his workshop asking, his Herman, what do you want from you? And what do you want from me? And she said, I'm lonely. My post box is empty. It's nice to have a postcard. So the attendee is starting to send a postcard once a week. And she said to Marshall that, my mom just passed away, but I really glad that, I did that. So my mom is 80, and she's very vulnerable, because, she's underlying condition. So I want my mom to be as much as, my part of life, and let her help me and be part of us, just not mean helping her in a way, but it's like a part of our lives. I don't know, if you're talking about the general seniors or your parents, but we can ask them what they want from us, and then we can be part of their life too. That's my take.
Stephanie, how have you dealt in this situation with your parents?
I feel very embarrassed because I feel even in the COVID-19, we all have a stay in the room, same apartments, but I really don't spend a lot of time with them. And especially my dad is over 85, and I know I need to do something, but he always addicted to watch TV, and the same TV, the same dramas for 2 years. And when I listen the song, I really feel, oh my God, and I don't want to talk to them. But I saw KS message. I feel really good. Maybe I need find new ways to deal with them with just love and care. Because sometimes if my dad say he cannot open the TV, but I say if you watch another drama, I will help. If you watch the same, I really don't want to listen the same things. Yes, find new ways. Love them. And like Satoko say, how I can be part of them in the rest of their life. Maybe just only 1 day, or maybe just still have 10 years. We never knows.
Yeah, I watched in Binda's chat, and then I feel some, compassion. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Yes, I never celebrate with my mom, my dad, because I always buy ice cream. I think that is a celebration every week.
I like the celebration every week. My grandma is also 100.
Wow.
Yeah, I really, agree that, every moment counts. She losing memory. So it's like, if she's a music instrument, she doesn't remember the 1 minute away, 1 minute before. But she kind of, get that, every moment, happiness or sad. So I'd love to create, even one moment of happiness, happy tune that's accumulate into, something, I guess. So every moment counts.
Okay, we have approached our closing time. So I'll thank everybody. Thank you for sharing those beautiful thoughts and being a part of the conversation. This really means a lot to everybody. Before we close, I'll just take some last thoughts from Stephanie, Ronald, and then Satoko. Any last sharing thoughts, and then we'll close this for today.
So from me, I'll end with a quote from Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, and he says, or he said, "You become what you give your attention to." So with that, thank you very much for being here today and staying through the 90 minutes. Hopefully, as I said at the beginning, it has either reaffirmed some thoughts you have, or maybe you've learned, taken away 1 or 2 new insights. And thank you for sharing. It's been wonderful.
So to be honest, I was really, how to say, tense maybe at the beginning. But as I go, thanks to my fellow panelists, Ronald and Stephanie, and also all the encouraging chat, I feel much more grounded and very, very grateful for very thought-provoking, interesting conversation and dialogue happen here. Thank you so much.
Yes, I also feel surprised because we have a lot, even we cannot talk each others, but according to your chat box, we feel engaged and encourage us. And the last word I really want to share is if every day we appreciate ourselves, have a gratitude attitude, even the thing is not really good, but our perspective and mindset difference, things can be different. Yes.
That was beautiful. Thank you everybody for being here. I thank the panel. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Satoko, for taking out the time and doing this for us and sharing these beautiful and relatable and I mean, I believe it was really needed at such a time where all of us are going through our own situations. This was great. Thank you for all the everybody who attended this session. And we have another session we have 2 sessions in the evening. We have one at 7:30 p.m. IST and another at 10:30 p.m. IST. I request all of you to be there. Of course, it's going to be another interesting panel and another interesting topic. The schedule is up on the website. Please have a look and do give us feedback. I've already shared the link. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.